Considering present world conditions, you can well appreciate why I have taken for my subject the end of the world. My talk today will help you to understand many things that are yet to come. When we study current events, or those that have passed, our view of these happenings is determined by how clearly or distortedly they are reflected in our consciousness. People judge what happens according to the way they live, and by the measure of their own mind and intelligence. Self-interest, prejudices, hatred, and anger prevent true understanding of the events and mysteries of life. Only by communion with God can we comprehend His divine laws, which are working everywhere. In spite of all the ruthless, desecrating ways in which man has wrought destruction in God's creation, still we will find that evil destroys itself, and that the power of God marches on in the face of every opposition. The End of the World. Extracts from lectures by Paramahansa Yogananda in 1940. The end of the world has various connotations, as I shall show you. First of all, there is the literal meaning. In this sense, the end of the world is of two kinds: partial dissolution and complete dissolution. It will be a long, long time before we can expect complete dissolution. Yet periodically, some fanatical group predicts that the world is coming to an end. A few years ago, we read in the papers about a sect in New York whose leader, misguided by mental phobia or imagination, had frightened many of his followers by such a prediction. Those who seek to hold their followers by instilling fear in them are not true teachers. We should always be actuated by wisdom, never by fear. To get back to my story, the members of this sect made ready for the coming Holocaust. They gave their property away and went with their teacher to a mountaintop to await the end of the world. They waited and waited. Several days passed, and their hunger pangs were increasing. Still nothing happened, and they finally gave up. Eventually, they had to institute lawsuits in order to get their property back. This is just one instance in which people have been alarmed by predictions of war or some other major disaster. More often than not, these proved to be false predictions. But in any case, we need not be frightened. After all, what is life? It is a temporary dream. Death is nothing but a sleep and another dream. When the dream is over, it is gone. Viewing it from that consciousness, I am not sorry for those who die on the battlefields, because for them, the dream of torture is over. But I grieve for the wounded, because pain is a dreadful nightmare. Much of the time my mind is not here. I am roaming on the battlefields of Europe. You might think as I tell you this, or if I were to tell you of other unusual experiences, that I am suffering from an overwrought imagination, But that is not so. Naturally, it is hard to believe that others can have realizations that we ourselves do not. But if you live for years in the mental world, whence God is sending forth these dreams of creation, and if you continuously work with the divine powers of the mind, you can see, as I do, all the mysteries of God's creation unfold before you. The good and evil actions of man affect the harmonious balance of the earth. Partial dissolution of the world is brought on by the evil activities of people in general. If we all begin to fight with explosives, by this direct action, we can reduce drastically the extent of civilization. And maybe if we work hard enough, we can dissolve this world too. God has given man the power of destruction, as well as the power of creation. We have made the world beautiful, and we have the power to destroy it. When we desecrate the world, the environment undergoes a violent change, which is called partial dissolution. Such upheavals have occurred many times. One example is Noah's flood. These partial dissolutions are due to the wrong actions and ignorant errors of mankind. Don't think the happenings of this world are going on automatically without God's knowledge. And don't think that man's actions have no effect on the operation of his cosmic laws. Everything that has happened throughout the ages is recorded in the ether. The vibrations of evil that mankind leaves in the ether upset the normal harmonious balance of the earth. When the earth becomes very heavy with disease and evil, these etheric disturbances cause the world to give way to earthquakes, floods, and other natural disasters. It is the same as when you live wrongly for a long time. Various inharmonies begin to manifest in your body, as well as certain diseases. Disease is not a punishment, it is a poison that you yourself create in the body, and the Lord wants you to get rid of it. But all too often, by the time you try to throw it off, the body has become completely deranged, and you die. So, just like the human body, the earth suffers from inharmonies and disease. And it is because the combined actions of all people all over the world can affect the planet on which we live. There is no question about that. The good and bad karmic conditions created by man determine and influence the climate. They affect the wind and the ocean, even the very structure of the earth, sometimes causing earthquakes. All the hatred, the anger, the evil we sent out into the world, and the agony and rebellion they cause, all these are disturbing the magnetic force of the earth, like static in the ether. In the destruction caused by this war, we are seeing a partial dissolution of the world, dissolution of lives, money, homes. In many ways, it is worse than Noah's flood. It is a flood of fire and bloodshed. But one thing is encouraging. The good karma of mankind is greater than the evil karma. If this were not so, the earth would explode from the negative vibrations. Contrary to appearances, the earth is in an ascending cycle, and good will triumph. The life cycles of the earth. The world is a sort of living being with a predetermined age. We are the children of this great Mother Earth. We suckle her breast to partake of the food she produces. She also nurtures us through the circulating currents of oxygen, the sunshine, and the water of her atmosphere. Just as we go through youth, middle age, old age, death, and reincarnation, so also does the Mother Earth. There is the young Mother Earth, the middle-aged Mother Earth, and the old-aged Mother Earth. The Earth dies through partial dissolution, then reincarnates again to give human beings new life, new strength, a new habitat in which to work out their karma. Many times, the earth has undergone partial dissolution and reincarnation. But complete death will come to the earth only when it dissolves back again into God. I will explain briefly about the life cycles of the earth. These cycles consist of 24,000 years, divided into 4 yugas, or ages. 12,000 years of ascending through these yugas to increasing enlightenment, and then 12,000 years of descending through the yugas to increasing ignorance and materialism. Each of these half cycles is called a Daiva Yuga. The earth has already passed through many complete cycles since the dawn of creation. The 4 ages of each Daiva Yuga are Kali Yuga, the dark or materialistic age, Dwapara Yuga, the electrical or atomic age, Treta Yuga, the mental age, and Satya Yuga, the age of truth or enlightenment. Dwapara Yuga, the present cycle. The earth has already passed through Kali Yuga, the materialistic age of 1,200 years duration. According to the calculations of my guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, we are about 240 years into Dwapara Yuga, the second age, which consists of 2,400 years. Now, in its ascendancy, this is the electrical age, even though it may seem yet very materialistic. If you think about it, you will see how man has progressed from comprehending only gross matter to understanding and harnessing the energy in matter. In this age, man will make great headway in the electrical or electromagnetic field of science. As Dwapara Yuga progresses, diseases will be treated and healed more and more by rays. Vibratory energy can reach the electronic factors of the atoms, the building blocks of matter, where gross chemicals cannot penetrate. After this war, you will see a great surge of development in electrical science. Aviation will develop tremendously also. Travel will be much, much more by air. Planes are still viewed with doubt by many today, just as trains were once looked upon with fear. But planes are already taking over, and trains have become almost a thing of the past. Gradually, automobiles will come to be considered as carts. The trouble in the second age is that there is not enough security because science plays the part of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Man uses science not only to create and do good, but to destroy as well. Therefore, scientific development is not yet safe. The present world war shows how the technology of science is being used to destroy mankind. Out of the conflict, we will learn how to employ more scientific devices for human comfort. But unless we develop spiritual forces, we will also continue to use scientific knowledge to destroy. People will learn from this war the devastating consequences of the misuse of technology. In the First World War and in earlier times, it was considered chivalrous to fight. But the idea of chivalry has gone. In this war, no one wants to fight. After it is over, there will be so much fear of world devastation that if anybody tries to start a war, the rest of the world will fall upon that nation. I am telling you things far ahead of my time. Armament is necessary now. A defensive plan is good, but it will not bring ultimate peace. So long as anyone will use brute force, there will always be someone else who will be more brutal. As Christ said truly, if you use the sword, you will perish by the sword. Brute force will be subdued only by making mankind understand the eternal message of Christ, and the great ones. Only by spiritual force will wars be stopped. Ultimate peace will come by mutual agreement. All nations of the earth will have continued peace conferences and will scrap their weapons and instead help to destroy the earth's slums. Think how much better it would have been if all the nations and their leaders had gotten together to use the money they are spending in war to do away with the poverty of the world. Instead, even when war is over and one nation surrenders to the other, people will continue to live in fear and there will still be poverty. These present armaments will be junked and billions of dollars will be wasted by believing in brute force. Man is engaging in great folly. How long will it go on? How can this be changed? Only when nations have had their brains battered by war will they begin to realize their short-sightedness. But I tell you, though it may not seem so, this war is being fought for the freedom of all downtrodden nations. The karmic forces are at work to give India and other foreign-dominated countries their independence. Spirituality must be kept strong in all nations. What is to be dreaded even more than this present war is the godlessness of Bolshevism, the greatest enemy. There's a story that when a lion and a bear fought over the carcass of a stag, the bear was killed, and the lion had a broken back and couldn't get to the deer. A fox, who had been watching and waiting on the sidelines, came forth and claimed the prey. Godless communism is waiting to spread. We must, above all, strive to keep spirituality strong in all lands. What prevents people from taking from others? The sharing of others with them, so that they too have what they need. And the knowledge that God is our Father and we are His children, brothers of one universal family. National patriotism is not enough. If the ideal of God and brotherhood is taken away, there will be no reason to live anymore. Who created this world? Who created us? We know that there is a God. Let nothing take away that idea. The doctrine of belief in God is the only one that will ultimately bring peace on earth. No other ideology will be able to do so. Loyalty to one's country. So long as you live in any country, you must be loyal to it. We must not allow subversive elements in this country. Treachery, I think, is the most terrible of all crimes, the most dreadful of all evils in this world. Never be treacherous to your family, your neighbors, or your friends, and never be treacherous to your country. Those who cannot be faithful to their country cannot be faithful to God. Remember the story of the bat? When the birds and the beasts were fighting, the bat sided first with one and then the other, depending on who was winning at the time. After a truce was signed by the birds and the beasts, both made a resolution: let us destroy the bat. So remember, it is of utmost importance to be loyal to your country. If you don't like its ideals, give it your blessing and go somewhere else. There is too much lack of patriotism in this country. I don't mean that you should love America with the kind of patriotism that tries to destroy other nations. Rather, love America and her ideals, so that you may in turn love the whole world. Remember, you are living in America for just a little while. In other incarnations, you may live in other countries. If everyone first loves his own country and then expands that love to include all other countries as his own, there will be no more wars. So never tolerate anyone who is not a true patriot. No one has a right to live in this country who doesn't love it. It is wrong to bite the hand that feeds you. I would rather that people beat me up or kill me than be treacherous to me. Treachery I abhor. I have never betrayed anyone. The love I have given to all, I have given sincerely. There is no one who can stand before me and truthfully say, I have been treacherous. Where I give my love, I give it wholeheartedly. That doesn't mean I am not aware of those who are insincere with me. Before the searchlight of divine love, everything is revealed. So, dear ones, never be treacherous to anyone, and whenever you see treachery, correct that person and refuse him cooperation or support in his wrongdoing. God knows who is wrong and who is right. Let us all be united in everything that is noble. Uphold the ideals of this country. If ever aggressive war came to destroy this country and America needed my help, I would give it, for the love of the people and to defend the nation on whose land I live. We should do our part to help protect America and all those who we love. But at the same time, we must not allow ourselves to be filled with hatred. Never has the world needed love so much as now. Love will be a potent factor in eradicating war. Let us all resolve that no matter what happens, we will make God the polestar of our love, and that we will send that love to all. Mentally pray with me. Heavenly Father, Thou art love. I am made in Thine image. I am a sphere of love. I expand this sphere to include all mankind in the kingdom of my love. This war will not be the wars to end all wars. Whoever wins and then uses that power to penalize other nations, those nations will try to strike back with greater force someday. Man's destructive potential has grown much greater than his constructive power. There will be no safety in the electrical age. Methods of war on a greater and greater scale will come. So thank God that Dwapara Yuga, the electrical age, is only 2,400 years. Treta Yuga. Next, we will come to Treta Yuga, the third era or age of 3,600 years duration. That is the mental age, when most people will use mind power. The power of the mind will be much more highly developed than it is now. To a great extent, everything will be accomplished by that power. There will be an increase of wisdom, and therefore more safety in that age. People will make a stronger effort to use peaceful means for settling their problems. There will be less use of electricity and growing use of the power of the mind. This is not to say that everyone will be able to know others' minds. But just as there are powerful radios that can tune in even weak stations, and weak radios that can pick up only strong stations, so some people will have stronger mental powers than others in the age of the mind. In that mental age, by the power of the mind, we will be able to know our fellow beings better, so that it will be difficult for anyone to be wicked. There will be very little hypocrisy, because people are hypocritical only when they think others do not know their real feelings. As a result of greater understanding, humanity will learn to live more peacefully with one another. Mind power will be used for healing and as food for the body. Satya Yuga. After the third age will come Satya Yuga, or the age of truth, when the mind of man will be able to comprehend all mysteries of creation and to live in communion with God. People of this age will find no barrier between the material world and the astral heaven. They will be able to enter the astral world and commune with those souls who have gone on to that sphere. The ascending Satya Yuga will last for 4,800 years. Many fully evolved souls will find liberation in that yuga more than in any of the other ages. But even the end of Satya Yuga will not signal the end of the world. The cycle will be continuous, descending and reascending through all four ages again and again. Intermittently, cataclysms will occur in which the world will die and then begin anew its continuous cycle. The earth was created to bring souls to their divine destiny. It is carrying a heavy burden until all our work is done. Until our souls evolve back to God, this earth will never totally dissolve. It is only when God no longer needs it for the evolution of souls that the world will be no more. Then will come the real end of the world. So don't be afraid that our earth will tumble into the oven of the sun, which is so hot that all things would melt and vaporize in just a few seconds. The ultimate end of the world is far off. It has a lot of work to do yet. Rise above the age in which you are born. You do not have to wait for the end of the world in order to be free. There is another way. Rise above the age in which you are born. In the material age, the majority of mankind is materially minded. But you will also find those who are living ahead of their times, Christ-like souls. In the mental and electrical ages, you will find predominant the mentalities, characteristics of those Yugas. At the same time, there are other mentalities, some that are more highly evolved and others not yet as highly evolved. Thus, in this electrical age, you can find people who are still living in the Stone Age. There's always a balance. Some who are living ahead and some who are living behind the age of civilization in which they are born. Through repeated incarnations, those of lesser development will gradually advance until they express the mentality of the age in which they reincarnate, and eventually the quality characteristic of the higher ages yet to come. The cycles of this world are like a seesaw, going up and down. But when we hasten our evolution through right living and a spiritual technique such as Kriya Yoga, we live ahead of our time and can find freedom in God within this or only a few lifetimes. The world ends for us when our minds are detached. Another way in which we experience the end of the world is in the detachment that is felt in sleep, in dreams, in losing one's mind, and in death. These conditions are forced on us, so it seems that the experience of the end of the world is necessary to us. Its purpose is to teach us the delusive nature of the world and the true nature of ourself, the soul. The soul comes on earth and becomes entangled in the mesh of delusion. Through the suffering that comes to us then, the Lord wants to see that the world is not perfect. In this way, He helps us to break our attachment to it. God is trying to make us realize, through non-identification with it, how delusive our existence here is. The more I saw of the world and its defects, the greater became my determination to know God. The world ends for us when we are free from desires. In a metaphysical sense, the end of all earthly desires is the end of the world. For your own happiness, You must strive to live free of worldly desires. If there is anything you can't do without, you still have a terrible lesson to learn. Imagine yourself taken away from this earth with all of your desires unfulfilled. They are like cankers in your soul. You would have to return here many times, enduring heartaches and disappointments again and again to cure yourself of those desires. It is far better to say to God, Lord, I didn't ask you to create me. I am here because you put me here. I will do the best I can, but I have no desires except to do your will. I don't want to be sent back here to suffer anymore. I don't want to go on endlessly returning. Sometimes as a rich man, sometimes as a poor man, sometimes with ill health and disease, sometimes with sorrows, sometimes with snatches of happiness. I am not a mortal being. I am the immortal soul. Don't worry that by freeing yourself of desires, you will become petrified like a stone. Desirelessness is a most marvelous state of consciousness. I enjoy everything, but I have no desire for anything. So there is never any pain or disappointment from unfulfillment. Whatever I do, wherever I go, I enjoy myself. So the way to true happiness is to do your best in the role in which God has placed you, without creating further desires. Then you can be a king within, no matter what your outer conditions. You can be happier than a millionaire. In fact, if you knew the troubles of millionaires, you wouldn't want to be one. The fear of losing all that money, the fear of disease, the feeling of insecurity, never knowing who one's real friends are. These are some of the struggles and sufferings of those who have too much. I wouldn't want anyone to like me just because I had money. What kind of love is that? To me, true friendship is the greatest of all treasures. I love friendship that is given without any demand. Friendship for the sake of friendship, without expectation of anything in return. That is one thing that you can never buy. Not with money, show, fear, or power. It must be given freely. If sometimes you fail to receive that kind of friendship, don't be discouraged. If you are sincere, you will find those true souls who will appreciate you. Live without being attached. Wherever you are, carry within your bosom a portable heaven of joy. Remember that you are here in this world to be entertained. When you go to a movie, whether you see a tragedy or a comedy or a drama, you say afterward, "Oh, it was a good movie." So must you look upon life. Have no fear. If you live in fear, health will go. Rise above disease and troubles. While you try to remedy your condition, inwardly be untouched by it. Be strong inside, with full faith in God. Then you will conquer all the limitations of the world You will be a king of peace and happiness. That is what I want you to be. The Lord gives you that freedom every night in sleep. When you retire, say to Him, Lord, the world has ended for me. I am resting in Thine arms. Thou hast put me here to watch Thy movies of life, tragedy and laughter, health and disease, life and death, wealth and poverty, war and peace. These are naught but dreams to entertain me. Untouched, I rest in the thought of Thee, the only reality. The end of the world is realized in Samadhi. Last of all, the end of the world is realized in Samadhi, or divine ecstasy. There are two kinds of Samadhi. When at first you try to sit and meditate, your mind runs away in all directions. You think it is impossible to go deep. But if you sit still and persist long enough, you will begin to feel that wonderful silence of God. When your mind is withdrawn, centered in Him, the world is forgotten, and you find in that silence a happiness greater than any worldly pleasure. That state, when you are totally absorbed in inner awareness of God, no longer conscious of the world, is called Sabhikalpa Samadhi. It is partial dissolution of the world because, when you return to ordinary consciousness, the delusions of the world will again somewhat affect you, unless you are highly evolved and free of all desires and attachments. The second and highest state of Samadhi is when you are in the world, but not of it, carrying on your duties, but every moment conscious of God. That is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It is the end of all limiting desires and attachments. Delusion is vanquished, and that is the true end of the world. I would urge you to commit to memory my poem, Samadhi, because that state of soul freedom is the goal of every human life roaming this earth. Many people fear that if they go off into Samadhi, they may not return to consciousness of this world. Yet they do not fear dropping off to sleep at night, when identification with the body and the world is forgotten in subconsciousness. It is nonsense to think this way about Samadhi. It is not cessation of consciousness, but expansion of consciousness. End your dream delusions in God. End the world for yourself now by being with God. Don't desecrate the temple of your soul with restless desires and boisterous worldly pleasures. Stand immaculate in the light of your conscience and in the light of love for God. Reach that state now. Then, perhaps during war in this electrical age, or in the mental age, or in the truth age, you will come like a Christ to give peace on earth and to say to mankind, I learned the lessons God wanted me to learn. Troubles, diseases, and death mean nothing to me. I am one with the eternal light. The world has ended for me. Come, my brothers and sisters, who are still suffering from the nightmare of this world of life and death and endless rounds of incarnations. Come with me. I will show you that the end of the world means the end of your dream delusions of this earth. Learn this lesson so that your soul may shine forever, an eternal star in the bosom of the great Lord. Remember, you are here on earth for only a little while, but you are God's child for eternity. Don't rally with the forces of ignorance. First, get to know God. Whatever He tells you to do, then, is all right. Whether it is fighting for your country, or being a businessman, an artist, or a spiritual teacher, when you will truly know Him, you will be guided aright in life. That is why the scripture says, seek ye the kingdom of God first. If you can live by even a few of the truths I have given, you will be a different person. You will know God if you follow the teachings of self-realization. When I am with you, I don't want to give you just intellectual satisfaction about truth. I want you to perceive God for yourself. I have told you how to end your imperfections so that you can go beyond to Him. Excerpts from the book, The Divine Romance by Paramahansa Yogananda.